Yo, wanted to talk a little bit about a topic that I see cropping up from time to time. Every couple of months or so, I'll see a bunch of hostility rise up around these replay channels like Zeus's or Yoga Flame or what have you that basically just go into the games, search up high-rated players, download their replays, and then share them on YouTube for profit. And the general take and frustration, as I understand it, is usually like, oh, it's just somebody who's profiting off of my name, you know, what right do they have to be uploading my replays and making money off of my hard work, right? And everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I'm not here to call anybody out, you know, you handle this topic however you personally want to handle it. But here's what I think. Here's how I'm addressing it. So I have about 5 years of experience in the marketing and advertising industry, and over that time I've been able to help some really big brands that you would recognize, and the campaigns that I've worked on have genuinely generated millions of dollars at this point. And not to brag, well, I'll brag a little bit, fuck it. I think, you know, the performance of this channel, I mean, we've gotten 2.5 million impressions and almost 250,000 views at this point. It's only been like 3 weeks. I feel like that speaks to my quality as a marketer, right? And so from my perspective, somebody making additional content about my brand is fire. It's so dope. In marketing, we refer to this concept as earned media. So it's media that you did not have to sit down and work on and think up and what have you. It's media that you quote unquote earned, right? It's your ability to build a brand that was prolific enough to inspire people to make content about you, right? And so long as these clips and these instances of you are linking back to you and your work in some way, I feel like it's pretty much all upside, right? Like, let's say in the future, I happen to get really good at Tekken and these channels started to upload replays of my play. At that point, like, the content that I have on my channel, it's very unlikely that I would ever upload just raw gameplay with no commentary, right? The audience that I've built here on this channel just isn't primed for that sort of thing. They are used to me being highly engaged and talking to them about topics and whatnot. And so if I were to just upload a bunch of gameplay, they would be like, what the fuck is this? I'm not sitting here and watching just gameplay for the next 30 minutes. That doesn't make any sense. The reason why retention can be so high on a channel like that is because the entire channel exists as a repository for the public to be able to view high-level gameplay, right? So because that space exists specifically for the purpose of watching footage with no commentary, it's able to be successful. If any of the other like very high level players that are having their footage posted here were to go on their own YouTube and just post their own raw gameplay there, I don't think they would have the same amount of success as these channels do. And so for me, like, you know, there's only so much time in the day. I make like approximately 1 video a day. I'm gonna get in, you know, whatever I happen to get off of that, so many views, so many subscriptions, etc. But, you know, if somebody else makes another piece of content that is about my channel, then it's all purely upside, right? Like, nobody's going to watch their video and be like, I could get Loops content over here. There's no reason to be subscribed to Loops anymore. I'm gonna unsubscribe from them. That just doesn't make any sense. That doesn't logically follow. And so if only like 0.1% of the people that saw that video converted over to me, and then the videos that I was on happened to get 100,000 views on them altogether, that's still 100 new subscribers that I didn't have to work for at all. And this isn't to say like I would never DMCA a piece of content, right? Like if somebody were to just take my video and then re-upload it, or if somebody were to take clips that were like very derogatory or like bashing me or being very rude, like I would probably just strike that down as well. Like, I'm not fucking with that. But if somebody was like a fan of me and they created a clips channel where they just put like little bits from the stream that they happen to think were kind of funny, and even if they started to generate a little bit of an income off of that and they started to bring in a bunch of views, that's just like ideas for me. Like, either that's, I get to look at those and be like, okay, like, what moments from my stream are clippable down into shorts? Like, what about this style is making them successful? Are there any edits that they're doing to these that are making them really engaging? And if I feel like they have their finger on the pulse of an aspect of YouTube that I don't, I could just hire them up. I could just approach them and be like, hey, you're making really good content, you know, derived around the brand. It seems like you're a fan, you appreciate the channel. How about coming and making videos for me? But from my perspective, if you're like super controlling of your brand and you're like, nobody can see my gameplay without my approval, everything has to go to my specific YouTube channel, you know, I feel like you're just hurting your reach and your brand. Like, it's just not, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you do that to yourself? I have a very, I guess, like abundant and generous type of mindset where like, I don't consider other creators in the space to be competition for me. I feel like we're all, and this is just my perspective, I don't speak for anybody else, but from my perspective, this is a collaborative process. Like, all of us want to be onboarding new players, all of us want to be entertaining fighting game players, etc. And so, you know, the prospect of somebody like spreading around my name and my brand is just certainly not a threat to me. Like, I just don't. It's all upside. I feel like if we were to unanimously agree, like, imagine tomorrow players gain the ability to copyright their own gameplay, right? And so they could go and they could strike down any video that happens to mention them in it. I feel like that's all strictly downside for the community as well, because the community being able to log onto YouTube and view high-level replays wherever they're at is just such a fantastic asset. Like, I could be out like eating lunch or something and pull up YouTube and happen to watch something. I can't do that with Tekken 8. I don't have Tekken 8 on my phone. Now, one thing I will say, in Tekken 8, you're able to view replays that were had in a private room, and there's no way to disable this feature. I do think that's a little whack. I think if you wanted a space to be able to play without your replays being preyed upon, like, a private lobby should be a private lobby. I don't know why you would be able to go and watch people's replays from their private lobby. That doesn't make any sense to me. And like, I'm totally for consent in this regard, and developers including features that allow people to like block other people from recording their replays and stuff like that. But I do feel like even in that instance, it's like strictly downside both for the player themselves as an individual and also for the community around them. So personally, I think we should invest a lot less energy into complaining about these channels and like assuming that if we were to get them shut down, that all of these viewers would just suddenly be watching our videos overnight. And instead think about like, okay, what could I be doing to produce more interesting content that people are clicking on and people are watching all the way through? You know what I mean? Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.